Teresa of Kaswa Adom City. Enjoy your birthday, Ma Teresa, Kaswa Adom City. Now let's go on a holiday because Scopan Hospitality has a summer tour package for you from August 8th to 17. You can do Dubai and Singapore, or Dubai only or Singapore only. The package includes visa, accommodation, tour activities, and air ticket. Give Copan Hospitality a call right now on 0262 349 886, 0262 349 886, or 0242 687 086. You'd find Copan Hospitality at East Legon American House, opposite the K. Billy Clare School. The website is www.copan.com. Copan spelled Koppan. Copan Hospitality, tourism at its best. Now, if you'd like to go home, let's go home to Eden Heights. Eden Heights is the new destination for luxury. It's close to the beach. 5 minutes walk from the West Hills Mall. Eden Heights has 1 to 4 bedroom apartments and penthouses. A secured and well-planned community. Olympic-sized swimming pool, football, basketball, athletics, and gym facilities. Visit Eden Heights at edenheights.com.gh or call Mavis on 050-153-1444 or 1445. Eden Heights, welcome home. And for those of you who love to pamper your skin, new clear and smooth organic brightener cream and the organic brightener lotion. Clear and smooth maxi brightener cream is up for grabs for a fairer, brighter skin tone. Clear and smooth is available in all cosmetic shops. Hydroquinone free, safe and effective. If you'd like to purchase in bulk, call 0302 232716. That is 0302 232716, and is vetted and approved by the FDA. Nothing they happen. Pumping the volume. And this one goes out to you, Nana Esi Uswa Samoa of ADB head office. Have a great birthday, Nana Esi Uswa Samoa. Love from your husband Franco Uswa Samoa and your sister-in-law Dorothy Ajiman of GTV News. Have a good one. And happy birthday to Marianne Benson of the University of Ghana, Legon, School of Communication Studies. Marianne Benson, have a good one. It's from Miracles here to you. MTN Momo is 10 years old today, this year too. So in the spirit of the celebration, it's raining exciting bonuses. For the month of June, a whopping 200% bonus on every Momo recharge from your own wallet. The bonus is valid for 7 days. Go ahead and dial star 170 hash to access your MTN Momo today. That's the Momo menu. Star 170 hash. Just Momo it and be part of the celebration. We did for you everywhere you go. British International School says to remind you that if you want the best for your child, if you want to harness your child's potential, think of British International School, where the belief is in academic excellence, leadership, and learning beyond the classroom, offering door-to-door bus services for pick-up and drop-off. And as I I speak, admissions are open from the playgroup to A-level, both day and board day. East Legon Hills is where you find British International School. Give them a call on 054 509 8844. That is 054 509 8844 or 028 955 4447. BIS, turning dreams into reality. And just in case you're on Enterprise Life, or in case you're not, well, for those of us who are life policy holders, please remember to update your policy details. Get in touch with Enterprise Life today and update your policy details. Give them a call on 030 703 4444. That is 030 703 4444. Or simply dial star 714 star 100 hash on your mobile phone and follow the simple steps. There are 29 branches of Enterprise Life nationwide. You can go there with a valid national ID card. Remember, tomorrow is not promised. Update your policy details for your own good. Enterprise, your advantage.
But nowadays, the rhythm change.
Nowadays is what?
Nowadays is boy. Nowadays is gone. Nowadays is pussess.
Nakaino.
Boy. Nowadays is gone. Nowadays is pussess.
What you call go fuel?
Angelina Cometa, Yasibaruka Sasa, Macarena Kamapuka, Sigome, Angelina Cometa, Yasibaruka Sasa, Macarena Kamapuka, Sigome, Yasibaruka Sasa, Macarena Kamapuka, Sigome, Angelina Futa, Sasa Shigore Sasa, Macarena Nemapuka, Shigome, Angelina Futa, Sasa Shigore Sasa, Macarena Nemapuka, Shigome, Sasa Shigore Sasa, Sasa Kagone Bae, Macarena Nemapuka, Shigome, Sasa Shigore Sasa.
And congratulations to Ernesto Forestry on the Chief Executive of Special Investments, Man of the Year. Good morning, sir. Bless you forever.
To all my ladies, I just want to say this.
Last one. Then we go to Dr. ANYARS.
If you're committed to one another, remember this. Love is faithful. Love is kind. And love is so
Remy Wooding. Name Fantonium Dede. Benedicta, Cecilia, Emilia na Monica, Uya mefe, Intini machi, Cecilio, Emilio, Penesoma me masha okawa, oh, na me fatu nyo Debbie, Benedicta, Cecilia, Emilia na Monica. And happy birthday to you, Dorinda Seiram Putaki of the DVLA. Have a great birthday, Dorinda Seiram Putaki. It's from your mom, Esther Dako Mensa, and Auntie Alice Poku Mensa. Much love to you, Dorinda.
Searching in the night, I found you. Searching. There was nothing in this world, and nothing that stopped me from loving you, loving you. But the only thing in this world that stopped me from loving you is when you cheat on me, is when you betray me, and you break my heart. Alright. Mami Fatonium that baby, Benedicta, Cecilia, Emilia, Monica, oh yeah me fine. Let me see the magic my coffee. Follow me me go. Can you show me my show kawa? Oh yeah me fine. Let me see the magic my coffee. Follow me me go. Okay. Can you show me my show kawa? Yeah, terribly I mean. Can you muji? You will learn nothing. Machine fishing machine. That time in the synthesis. Basic go back. Oh, you hoa. Oh, die. When you put oh, you want me? I can't be back. Can't be fair. I can stop. Put it to one. When you put the that go my abado. Don't. Why don't you want to come on? I talk on all. Talk about the shell. Ruby Sissy Mimi. Julie Betty Jessie. Parapi. Talk on all. Talk about the shell. Ruby Sissy Mimi.
Enjoy your birthday, Nick Ahedo. Have a great birthday, Nick Ahedo from UGBS 2000 Club 2000. And I say Eva. Yep. NTIS Sports, ya LPMC, Tinyum Kakra, ya Twalia Kakra, Dr. Ibrahim Anyas, a Chief Executive Officer, Emma Nation Builder Score, yeta a friend in NABCo. If you're the chairman or corner pro ball and OBPA no, and come to train who say, ni baby no, and come on, come and see it. 80 years, no studio hank a bed or share your bo. say a woman say also a greater Accra regional tour. Nemum no a draw day say Yamia Dumna de Pachia. Or Papa da J na Waba Kayan. And I pay within the bush and so fair. I be pay her. Dr. Anyars, my J.
Chairman General, Michia, 80 for Nina.
80 for Joseph. A Joseph, yeah, that's in feedback. Yeah, that's to say, Osha was said Monday morning, Baba. I know it's a tough job, but thank you for making time.
I'm privileged and pleased to be here. This is what we're supposed to do. I am leading a public project. The politics is the politics, and the reality looks different on the ground. So these encounters are very important. Yes.
Yes, great. Let's do a quick wrap up. You can nation builder score. Then what exactly is it?
Midasi, Chairman General.
Yes.
Ahead of the 2016 election, sometime me say nami parliamentary candidate or Tamale Central.
Okay.
Now, the major issue that confronted us in our rounds with the then leader of the party, His Excellency, currently the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in every community, Kwakwe campaign, the major issue on the lips of people was a sense of hopelessness and despondency among young people who generally felt, say, the country wasn't working for them. And for a young person, because the most important to say for a young person, so of school, no way school to say, or your post-secondary to say tertiary level, their next logical step for most people say, sa economy neman koye na omuntimi ne juma omutina fit say 6 years and now 4 years and now 5 years omuntimi ne juma. It creates a sense of despondency. In fact, in a lot of countries, it heightens a sense of insecurity among fellow citizens because you don't want your very well-educated folk not finding things to do. When I say studio because I'm an avid listener to this to Peace FM.
Yeah, that's it.
Time and again, you have reviewed cases of young people traveling, making dangerous trips out of this country. Say during those times, trying crossing the Red Sea, and then all those
Sahara
dangerous
Desert.
things, crossing the Sahara Desert. In certain cases, very unfortunate things have happened. We've all heard of colleagues who have lost their lives as a result of such dangerous trips. Inti sani wani nyina adia na enye papa. His Excellency the President once we had the mandate and God blessed him to be to lead the country after the 2016 election. One of the major things on his mind was to make sure, say, we deal with this problem in a very comprehensive way, especially the cohort of our citizens who were educated beyond secondary, post-secondary level to tertiary level in huge numbers, but not finding clearly their way in life. And that gave birth to a program called the Nation Builders Corps. I say May 2018, on May Day 2018, His Excellency the President at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology launched this brilliant scheme on Workers' Day, International Labour Day, to signal that 100,000 opportunities was going to be given, in fact, to make a big dent on this massive problem that we had as a country. And since then, I'm sure that for a lot of people who have followed what has happened, a portal was opened, to take applications from all qualified citizens of the Republic of Ghana who were educated beyond secondary and had tertiary level education and had some diploma or had a higher national diploma or had a degree. And in fact, Chairman General,
yes, sir.
I was, well, I don't know if I have to be pleasantly surprised, but I was surprised at my encounter at AMA. I will just digress a bit. On Friday, after I left the studio, during the trainee experiences, an MBA holder stood up to give an account of how long it took him to find work, and was sat in the midst of people who, for example, had similar experiences. But he just had to find MBA. He had to just go to school and continue going to school because he didn't know what to do. And I'm sure say, TSR stories because in him, a lot of people in our relationships or families or friendship networks who continue to go to school endlessly because they don't know what to do next. The next steps are never clearly defined. And this was what gave birth to the Nation Builders Course. So have 100,000 opportunities was given to all Ghanaians. It didn't matter where you were, your region, your ethnic background, your political ideology, whatever philosophy you shared. This was something that was offered to every citizen of the Republic. And at the end of the process, and I think that because this is all you need to know about NaBCo session this morning on Peace FM, numbers here. The first thing I would say is that people usually question, how did you know that if you give 100,000 opportunities, it will solve the unemployment problem among graduates? So we had some conceptual basis. So we had some research done and some outputs that had come from probably the universities, and also previous researches and reports done by other world or globally acclaimed institutions. Until we based the calculations that if we were to provide this opportunity and use the platform to get the interest, it will also give us the empirical evidence. And the empirical evidence we got was, at the close of applications after a month, 175,000 people had signed up to try and then join the Builders Corps. 175,000 plus people, with only 146,968 completing the application. Now, your application process had a very comprehensive list of things you had to provide. And we're requesting, say, tell us which university you went to. In fact, at the end of the application, you were even supposed to tell us something about your career aspirations, the sort of things that held you from getting employment. All those things we wanted to know so we can plan properly for you as you enter the scheme, and then also look to your exit because the scheme was meant to deliver on employability. And that was the Nation Builders Corps. 146,968 people applied to do this project. That tells you immediately that the scheme was oversubscribed. And from that point on, how do you select 100,000 from 146,000? That meant naturally that we had to apply the normal recruitment procedures. And we went through vetting the applications, setting up interview panels in every district of this country. So for the first time in the records of this country, an organization was able to interview over 137,000 NaBCo applicants. Everyone who applied was guaranteed an interview, and we did it deliberately.
Okay.
Because when you say Peace FM, this will be back Neno or Peace FM. One of the critical things the HR will do will say, what? We've received your application, come for an interview, because the interview is the gatekeeper to the employment. And we didn't want this situation, say in the future somebody would want to get employment but they have never had an interview experience, because we never get interviewed for national service. I'm sure those who have done national service can relate to this. And for a lot of our NaBCo applicants, NaBCo was their very first experience of interview. They have never even crossed the barrier to be invited to an interview. A lot of these applicants, and in certain cases, the stories that we heard, in fact, those who were empaneled, public servants, were astounded at the extent of the problems they were faced with as a country. People were weeping at some of these interviews, and I went around the country to sit on some of the panels. There were instances people came to the panel without knowing, apart from their name, not knowing what to say at all, because they have never faced this sort of environment before. But we did it deliberately, because we felt, say, at the end of the day, if you have 146,968, even if they did not make it to the 100,000 talent pool, at least NaBCo would have given them something. NaBCo would have been their very first interview encounter. And from the very beginnings of setting up the scheme, NaBCo scheme, we were very deliberate about the processes we put through the applicants, now most of them trainees, because we wanted to make sure that the ultimate goal of the scheme, which was to deliver on employability, was secure. To an extent that even if we didn't take you through to placement, you could once say that in your encounter with NaBCo, you got some value out of it. So that is the scheme, in essence. At the end of the processes, we're able to select 109,380 as qualified to be on the scheme.
109,380 out of the 170 down to 146,000.
Out of the 146,009 stayed. And I said, Mika, only say if they give you an opportunity to recruit 100,000 and you now have 109,380, people will be asking, say, well, where are you getting the extra budget from?
You shot your budget already.
But the reality was that we always knew that because the scheme was meant to be a temporary scheme to sort of prepare the workforce that we had, the talent pool, give them work readiness skills, give them the required soft skills, give them the digital skills, so they become employable in the end. We always knew that once they matured at various stages of the program, they were going to be exiting. So for someone, all they required beyond the interview was another 6-month internship on your program, and then they will be confident enough to apply for jobs in the public sector or the private sector.
Yeah.
And true to our word, we saw that in time, a lot of our trainees were getting recruited into the public sector. In fact, as I speak to you, our current data shows that close to about 9,000 people so far, based on data we have reconciled, have transitioned into employment, permanent employment. Most of them in the very sectors we place them to gain their work experience. Say in December 2018, Ghana Education Service some recruitment exercise for the double track. A lot of the applicants who came to NaBCo applied. We had about 44,000 people applying to work within Educate Ghana. And these were already qualified tertiary graduates who were looking for opportunities to work in the educational sector. And because we had the biggest talent pool, most of them found recruitment exactly in the same field. That was the Ghana Education Service. The same applied to Ghana Revenue Authority. The trainees that we send there, and then currently there are recruitments going on within local government. We had the Ministry of Food and Agriculture with extension officers and the like. A lot of them are finding their feet already in a lot of the openings in the public sector, which is exactly what the scheme was about. At the very start of NaBCo, in I think when we started recruitment in July, August, there was a lot of heightened anxiety among nurses. Lots of reports about nurses not happy, and then the fact that they thought we're going to bond them on NaBCo, say 3 years. They have to stay on NaBCo, and the assurances that we gave then was that clearance, the fact that NaBCo is being ruled out doesn't mean we're stopping clearances. Clearances will continue to be given for nurses to be recruited, for people to be recruited in the public sector. And as I speak to you, a lot of the Hill Ghana, we had close to 8,000 people on Hill Ghana. Those of them that are nurses and allied health, a lot of them have found that they have been given clearance now and they have transitioned into their regular employment, which is leaving an opening now for their colleagues who previously thought that they were going to be bonded, but have realized now that we've kept our word and their seniors have gone ahead into employment. And see, all these people, all these trainees that are on the scheme are finding their feet, because the aim of the scheme, what we're doing, in NaBCo is a work and learning program. You come onto the scheme, we guarantee you some work placement, minimum 24 months work experience. So when you find a future job that you want to do, with ticket box and say, I have done this job, I have been in employment for 2 years, during my time with NaBCo, I was placed under an organization, and these were the skills that I acquired whilst I was with the organization. At the same time, and I will spend a lot of time talking about this later on, the scheme is supposed to offer skills to the trainees, and that is a very important aspect we'll talk about this morning, because you say a lot of NaBCo trainees apply, and we have selected them. In fact, most of them are almost all of them are out on placement, but NaBCo, all they think is like I'm doing national service again and I have been placed in an organization. If they had paid close attention to their engagement letters, in the letters we stated that you are being enrolled onto a work and learning program. The work bit is what you're doing in your current placement. The learning bit is ongoing, some of it on the online platform, the NaBCo Talent Academy. The other bit is the quarterly approach to direct instruction, where we'll extract them from the workplaces to support them with these important skills. And that is in sum what our scheme is all about. Currently we have 97,373 of them in work placement. Those that leave, we have room to replace them once we do the tally. But we always want to make sure that before we bring on more people, there are available spaces for work placement before we bring on more people onto the scheme. Indeed, we are oversubscribed, and a few of our the trainees who applied, you would hear the odd of pending issues, because people are being put on waiting list, pending the movements on the scheme, and then we can onboard
109,000 plus people are NaBCo MO skills training near dear Musia Ejuma near dear of the number no bear 9,000 in your permanent employment when you Juma baby or more say.
And they are very happy, yes.
I see. Now and what Obaka say assessment of Ejuma Maya. What do any shares and yet here? Are you also happy?
In fact, maybe background is student leadership. And them say in the night around 1996, 97, all the issues on the student movement. At the time, I was the University of Ghana. So, for most of my active young life, I have always felt identified with youth issues. And I feel very much at home with dealing with the issue. I don't find this a chore at all. I am a very, very happy man leading the Nation Builders Corps, because there is nothing more rewarding than looking at people achieve their aspirations, and going through these processes to finally end up in their chosen careers to make meaning, as the President, His Excellency the President, said in his address. This was an opportunity for all these young people to make meaning out of their lives, and then make a contribution to nation building, so that this nation can be thankful to them too.
How is NaBCo founded?
NaBCo funding. Say last Friday, NaBCo funding mainly comes from the budget. In fact, the earlier questions around sustainability, apart from the issues people, the suspicion around whether the scheme itself was solid enough and could, survive, were issues related to the money. The NaBCo funding comes directly from the budget. Through the appropriation for 2019, the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, in the President's financial statement, approved 850 million for the Nation Builders Corps scheme. Person can say the schemes such as NaBCo deliver a certain value to our country in a way that can only be quantified in the future in terms of the impact that it's making in the lives of these young people. If you think about the sort of country that all of us as Ghanaians say we dream of seeing or living in, to build that transformed nation without preparing your very young people to take advantage of the opportunities of that transformed nation, you merely building a country for other people, because you get to that transformed nation and these same young people and their peers will still not be able to access the opportunities that are in there. And huge investment being made by His Excellency the President into the scheme and supported broadly by the members of Parliament. In fact, issues that people have raised around where you get the money from, as if there is no sort of legal basis. Parliamentarians will not condone any illegality.
It's in the budget. There's a law backing it and all of that.
Well, that's the whole point. I mean, I don't know, for you to get through appropriation, I mean, these are legal processes. I mean, within Parliament, parliamentarians are not likely to condone an illegality. So when I'm called to defend the budget before the Finance Committee, what they're simply saying is, we, in the process of approving these sums for you, but you have to be satisfied and you have to justify.
In the Auditor General auditing accounts,
once you're given public funds, you are all liable, for all their public accountability and public finance management.
Fantastic. At least we have clarity on that issue, because they be a up. Skaben nomudi ejuma skani free tieme de say waso o chechire.
But unim say yesikan bebre to say 850 million. 840 million of that is trainees money. If you do a simple arithmetic, you realize that if you pay 700 Ghana cedis to NaBCo trainees per month, if you multiply that by 12 months, you're likely to get 8,400 per trainee. Multiplied by 100,000 gives you 840 million. Indeed, the other component of it is just the extra goods and services which helps the organization to run. And it's not like one organization has been given 850 million. Big as it sounds, I couldn't say that in tree. Big as it sounds, it's money that is meant as an investment
for a specific project
in these trainees. Yes.
Well, but you want to ask Dr. Ibrahim Anyars a question, you want to make a contribution or a comment, the text line is 0244 844 488 0244 844 488. Now, Dr. Anyars, talking about money, let me just read this particular one. It's quite long. But it says, good morning, Doc. I know radio is not the best platform to seek answers about our salaries, but the coordinators are dying within. We've been told that trainees are the focus of the NaBCo program. Trainees seem to have received their money from day one. Some of us coordinators have no option. We've resigned our previous jobs since June last year to coordinate the 50 continuous days of interviews. Doc, some of us are married with children. We live in rented apartments and pay utilities. Our children are being sacked from school. When exactly will coordinators be paid our salaries?
Coordinators' salaries have been, and I'm sure that if this is a NaBCo district coordinator, I'm sure they have read from us on the timelines for paying all these. The situation with coordinators would be different to trainees.
Why?
Well, for coordinators, they are meant to be not on your average NaBCo stipend of 700 Ghana cedis, because they are supposed to come under some kind of compensation within the scheme, which means that they have to go through all the rigorous public sector processes to get paid. We have done that. The money has actually been paid to the scheme to pay them. The only outstanding bit was to gain authorization to pay them, and all our district coordinators know. This is public knowledge that this is where we are, and hopefully at the end of June that will be the end of the matter. So there isn't anything.
The end of June. The end of June is this week.
That's exactly what I mean.
The end of June
and
is
they
this
know
week.
that. That's why I'm surprised to be hearing this come up because
I have a lot of them here.
Coordinator, they would know that these are the timelines we work in.
I have a lot here because this one also says when are they paying NaBCo coordinators? We've worked for a year without pay. Is that the case? A year without pay?
I doubt.
How long do you owe them for?
So the NaBCo district coordinators were engaged from November. The reality, however, is these were people we worked with on the project during the interviews, and that was the statement was true, because most of those who assisted in the process had interest in working on the scheme, and in the end we got them to lead the projects in the districts, but their engagement actually on the scheme as leaders in the districts, the effective date was from November. So we about 7-8 months into this, and they've been given timelines. I mean, we couldn't NABCo allowances in terms of trainee allowances from day one, government's commitment, and they paid it, and we were able to effect payments once the data was right. Only a few outstanding issues with some wrong data and inaccurate entries, and that delayed some particular trainees their payments. But for the core staff, over 300 of us, I mean, our situation is totally different.
Somebody has sent a message. He puts his name. Normally, people like to go anonymous. Well, I'm assuming that this is his real name. He says his name is Charles Kwachi. Charles Kwachi from Echima Kwanwoma district. He says, please tell Dr. Anyars that some of us have worked since November, and I've only been paid our November and December stipends. I have since 2019 received nothing. I work accordingly and submit my timesheets every month. Thank you.
So I think that last week, we had a few of this. Let me say, any NaBCo trainee who has problems with payment, there are varied reasons why that can happen. Maintenance studio, and then be able to know accurately say his problem of non-payment arises because the district coordinators are supposed to be one of the major filters for us in the district.
How do you know if they are being major filters for you? Are they doing their job well?
Exactly.
Because here's a case where some of them are saying they've not been paid. Are they motivated enough to work?
So what happens is you have a timesheet being signed by the line managers of the trainees at their workplaces, and then they have to submit it to the districts, and then they get validated for payment. And if there's a particular month someone misses the deadline for timesheets or did not submit a timesheet, and they just assume that they will be validated, they will start having problems with their payment. But by and large, I mean, these are very minimal. You hardly hear of such cases of people who are regular. The major problem we had and continue to have with a few people are the people who don't respond to our prompts to update their records. So they have a problem, you try to solve it, you reach them online and you say go online and then update your records so we're able to rectify and pay you. They are the category. It's not a lot of them, but they are the category we have a problem with because we have the money to pay them. They are working in the organizations, but we are unable to pay them because sometimes their data is inaccurate. But for cases like this, it's easily resolved by him going through his district coordinator and then asking for validation, and then he gets paid. And I'm sure that can easily be done.
Well, interesting conversation we're having here with Dr. IBRAHIM ANYARS, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the Nation Builders Corps, NaBCo. Say Martin NaBCo, I'm sure say when him say emunsem doso. And Dr. Anyars has been kind enough to spend time with us, answer your questions, take your phone calls, hear you out. A few have been written here from our Facebook comments. It says, kindly ask Dr. Anyars with the issue of ease wage being a problem in our country, where banks have failed to help trainees cash out their money or even reluctant to replace lost cards. Can trainees be paid through their bank accounts? This can help us access loans when stipends are not in. Shadrach C. Jemfi is asking about, instead of EasyWage where we have technical problems, why can't they be paid through their bank accounts? Probably it will stand them in good stead to maybe take loans from these banks. Dennis Kojo says, why can't NaBCo pay stipends on time, like at the end of every month? Dr. Nyas, over to you. Kofi Japan says, when are we going to pay all the arrears? Ebenezer Kojo Kwetia says, when will they open 2019 registration? Linda Beko says, Ashanti region we've not received our May stipends. Hussein Ibrahim says, some of our colleagues have received their May stipends, but majority of us have not, from the northern region of Ghana. Bafo Chris Ike, ask my CEO. My brother was posted to the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and I'm told the ministry is supposed to assign them to other departments or agencies. As at now, he still hasn't got that placement from the ministry. What should he do? The last one, Aziz Ben. I understand every new program comes with its challenges, but the problem I have with NaBCo is a lack of communication. We should know at least what is going on at a particular time. For me and many others, he is indeed a capable man to steer the affairs of NaBCo, but he should please try and pay us on time. These are the various issues that have come up. I don't know if you want to answer some.
Indeed, this is why encounters like this are important, because we're dealing with the real issues. In the trainee arrears, it's not studio. Payment of arrears have been resolved. Like I said, we're up to date. Currently, we pay in May. For those who had outstanding issues, they know why they have those issues, and then we contact them, and then we resolve those issues. As for regular payments, I'm sure that all NaBCo trainees, say, we are the only organization that made them smile twice, and they were quite excited. And currently, we've paid May, and the regions that got validated only Friday, this is the week that they get paid for their May allowance, and that brings us even. It means that there are no outstandings apart from the few who have issues with their payment, which is being resolved anyway. I believe that once we get the June payments done, because June is not ended yet, and
yes, this week.
Well, we pay in May. And once we get to June, then it means that all the questions about regular payments will be moot, because we'll no longer have such issues affecting the scheme.
Is it true that some people are receiving allowances who have not been posted?
Who have not been
posted? Is it possible? Because
no.
we hear all these things come up every day.
Well, that's what when I started this show today, I said the politics is the politics, and the reality feels different and looks different. And he say, at the moment, this is my 6th region. I've been doing monitoring around the country, and in fact, from after my interview, Mr. say, you won't be from module implementation partners, MIPs. Now the MIPs are the recipients or the agencies that receive NaBCo trainees. Some of these MIPs have huge numbers of NaBCo trainees. They can better speak to these issues probably in a more concrete way than just talking to the head of the organization who is leading the talent pool of 100,000, because they can tell you at the very micro level whatever is going on. There was a deba at the Ghana Revenue Authority on Friday.
Okay.
In fact, the words of the assistant commissioner who chaired was that for the first time in the history of SEPs, they have never seen anything like this. The Ghana Revenue Authority have over 6,000 NaBCo trainees.
Over 6,000.
Over 6,000. They have divided them into various organs of the Revenue Authority. The major organ that utilizes them is the Customs, Excise and Preventive. Now, you will find our NaBCo trainees if you go to Pagaboda. You'll find our NaBCo trainees if you go to the Customs headquarters. You'll find them at the Tema ports. You'll find them at the various outposts in the most challenging borders of our country. What does that mean? It means that this is a scheme that is delivering on the value and also actually delivering on the very essentials of what we all want as a country, because revenue mobilization has always been a major problem. And if you have all these young people that are making a contribution to increasing the revenue base, that is one organ. You think about the Ghana Revenue Authority and their domestic tax. Now, within the domestic, they have a lot of our youngsters working within the small tax offices. You have the medium tax offices, and all these people are being sent out, some of them on the taxpayer identification exercise that is going on in the campaigns, and sometimes actually to directly approach businesses being led by their superiors to raise, to mobilize revenue for this country. The other component of that is those that we have placed with the assemblies who are dealing with the IGF and revenue mobilization within the assemblies. All these young people, these are the untold stories. For what Dr. ANYARS says on air, for me, I think that it barely scratches the surface. What you would want is the very concrete contributions that are being made on the ground. If you were to talk directly to maybe people in the Ghana Education Service or school heads who have NaBCo trainees, or if you were to talk to Ghana Revenue Authority or the customs, or if you were to speak to the assemblies, you know, and the use they are putting our trainees to, you'll be amazed at the extent of the contribution. Until we're never in a position to sort of carelessly expend public funds on people. You heard about the gentleman who sent in the, I don't know if it men, but each one says, I have consistently done what? Put in my timesheet.
My timesheet.
Where would they get timesheets from? You have to go to your line manager to sign a timesheet to say that I have been coming to work. In fact, and to contradict them, a lot of people say, well, NaBCo app, which is now being finalized because of the offline issues that we had, which was meant to be another layer of accountability. And it's a very friendly, boss who will say that you've been coming to work, but you are not coming to work. If you clock in and we try to verify, if we do the validation and we went to the data, you say, on this day that he said he came to work, he never clocked in, and there was no sign of him. Or even if he clocked in at a location that was not his workplace location.
Okay.
Because it's a location-based app. And all these things are put in place to make sure that, Chairman General, 850 million Ghana cedis of the taxpayer is a lot of money.
A lot.
I don't know, but those who manage funds, if they were to tell you what 850 million could deliver for us as a people, so we can never be reckless.
That's over $150 million.
Well, that is a lot of money. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of, on a monthly basis, this is nearly 12 million US dollars that is actually being paid or invested into this. As far as making sure that the money is being paid to the right people, we have processes in place. And if you were to be earning wrongfully, well, you know that there is a day of reckoning, because you will have to account or refund these, and there are processes in place to make sure that we can retrieve these funds.
Dr. ANYARS, let me go to the people on the phone lines. Let's find out what it is that is agitating their minds, and then I'm sure we can answer some of those questions. You may be afraid 0302-257-901 or 0302-257-900. Respectfully say, I'll take about 5 calls so that we can have the issues put together, and then you answer them so that we don't have a repetitive. It's 0302-257-900 or 0302-257-901. Dr. IBRAHIM ANYARS, our Chief Executive Officer, NaBCo Nation Builders Corps. Razak, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, Razak, we're listening to you.
Yes, please. We thank, first of all, let me thank our CEO very much for such a very great initiative. But our problem has been that, in fact, we resigned from one particular institution to join the NaBCo institution. Unfortunately, ever since we resigned to join, we had an issue initially for about 3 months before it was rectified, that we now part of NaBCo, so they will pay us. In fact, at the time, they were owing us 3 good months, but they were only able to pay 2 months. And we understood that. We never came out with this because we understood that It's a lot of money involved, and they cannot probably pay everything.
Razak, to your issue. So what's the issue?
So the issue is that as we are speaking, we haven't been paid from February up to now. And
if you say we, who are we?
Those of us who resigned from Forestry to join NaBCo.
As what?
As trainees, we are working.
Okay.
Some of us are in Educate Ghana, others are in Feed Ghana, and the rest.
Okay.
Yes, and we are working with our colleagues, and our colleagues are being paid, and we are left out.
Okay.
Yes, that's our current problem.
And when was the last time you were paid?
I was paid last month for January.
Okay.
For January. In fact, I was validated for January and February, but only January came.
Okay.
And as I was speaking, I'm being owed February up to date.
I'll have Dr. Anyars answer your questions. Thank you, Razak. From Kintampo, let's go to Dan Sumano. Chima, good morning.
Kwame, my channel pom to say.
Nyamene hene, Chima meet you.
Kwame, me problem my one NaBCo no one say. Number one qualify. Na nyame adum, ye fa mo 3. E piom car. Se no mo di twa no no mo di 2 na aka na hi. Enti, ye sre e bu doctor say. Da be no wo ba be piem. Na 2 na aka no so. Kwame every meet so. Because I call say omo munye mo koye no. Na omo esre omo munye mo koye na omo tifie no. Da bia no mo depend on us. Enti,
Chima, you are Chima. You are Chima. 0302-257-901 0302-257-900. I need about 3 more calls very quickly, and then we'll go to Dr. Anyars to answer these questions, and then we'll take the next batch. Into afraid. You've sent so many messages. You've asked for this to happen. We're doing it today because of you, Tipacho. Get on the phone lines and ask your questions. Nkoko Frederick, good morning.
Good morning, Kwame.
Yes, Frederick. Boko nyamene hen yetio.
Tipacho, me pese me bisa peneni se me sister wo mu bi. Na sika kakra obenya no. Ye no an osande call these villages as TNC and they call the in tax ne. Sika you can say. What is the use of it? Is or the Ghana sign TNC? I don't know being given TNC.
Okay, I see your point. Frederick thinks that the money is woefully inadequate, and so it's as if all they use the money for is their travel and transport. I have friend TNT. 2 more callers, and then we would go to Dr. Anyars Onyano. 0302-257-900 and 257-901. Kwame Mache.
Yeah.
Kwame Yetie.
Yeah, me bacho. Mr. Mamu visa Dr. Anyars Mami. With issue with NaBCo coordinators. Your letter started from November, yes. But around March, on Ankasa Sama, your letter for say on the back the arrears from September. In the end way.
Back pay.
Yes.
Okay. Right. 1 more caller, and then you have a crack with you, Dr. Anyars. You can call Laura. John. Good morning, John from Laura. Hello, John.
Yeah, Chairman General.
Yes, John.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this time, Mami, catch Dr. Ernest Oporata Ponce Manudripa.
Pacho, go straight to your point. Dr. Anyars, now I know for his upon.
Yo, me catch Dr. Ibrahim Anyars say, Yankupon Omano Ajay, any Yansa. Now, on Tunisian Manu, you said the dear assassin, but Yankupon Adam.
Okay. Mate, thank you. Well, Dr. Anyars, okay, very last one. Yeah, very last caller. Who's there? Rita, good morning. Is Rita on the line? Hello, Rita. Okay, Rita. All right, Dr. Anyars. Well, John says, God bless you. John from Laura. He says, God bless you, and finish hard. Kwam says, NaBCo coordinators have not received their back pay. Frederick says, the 700 cedis is woefully inadequate. It looks as if all you're doing is paying for their travel and transport. TNT, that's all it is. Chiman says 3 of his children are in NaBCo. He's a very happy man. But there are 2 at home. And the 3, as he himself says, they taunt, tease the others who are at home. So when next are you opening for the other 2 to also enjoy NaBCo so he can be free of his 5 children, as if you asked him to give you 5 children? And then Razak, our very first caller, says they resigned from other organizations to join NaBCo and yet they've not been paid. What's going on? These are my first set of questions.
Thank you very much. Nti Razak, the issue no your forestry nti one of the things people will realize about NaBCo is that we go through a lot of due diligence. And the people who have all manner of problems, if they are truly honest, they will be able to explain what their problem is. One such problem is during the first payment round in November, at the end of November, we realized a lot of the guys who applied haven't applied to other schemes earlier on. We struggle to pay them. So if someone was already on the Youth Employment Agency, or someone was on Forestry Commission on the Youth in Afforestation, or someone was doing national service, even extended national service, because we pay from the same platform, the eSwitch platform, it was a struggle because the system flagged them as being on other payroll. In the specific case of forestry, we then began a process because all these groups have spoken about YEA, Forestry, National Service. We got the list together and submitted to these organizations to say, we have found these people on NaBCo. Can you tell us their current status on your organization, whether they have resigned and they have applied to NaBCo or they are still with you? Because the system shows that they are actually still being owed by you or getting paid by you. Okay. So we don't make double payment. And this is what our systems revealed. In the specific case of forestry, we realized that genuinely the graduates among them wanted to be on NaBCo in the specific case of forestry. So what then happened was we began a discussion with the Forestry Commission. In fact, if Sejon was in here, and we've had various levels discussions on this. For the NaBCo applicants on forestry to be brought under NaBCo, for us to pay them, but repost them back to forestry as NaBCo trainees. So he's right. Now, that discussion only concluded in February, but we wanted to make sure that the money that was owed them before they joined us, because officially as of the time, forestry still, like he said, was supposed to pay them some money that was owed them. But for us as NaBCo, we were supposed to take over from the point that we reposted them back to. So
it means that gap there is a forestry gap.
There's a forestry gap. I don't know if it's been resolved or not, but we have a responsibility to them as NaBCo trainees now, and that agreement, is what we are operating on now. So there is no issue. They're just waiting to be paid because there is no issue with them. For all others who had resigned from other schemes, maybe they resigned from the YEA or they were doing extended and they have now joined us, they have no problem. Once we see evidence of the resignation and we double check that you are actually no longer being paid by that organization. In fact, in some extreme cases, we had an agreement with GIPS, the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems, to block those who had said that they had resigned so they don't get paid by the other scheme. So NaBCo could go ahead and pay them because we wanted to actually make sure they have resigned, so we're not having these problems recur. And well, NIA is a very recent one, as you rightly pointed. And Frederick say trainee welfare. Okay, so the money I said
TNT na mutual.
His Excellency the President. It's a trend. I mean, nobody's ever happy with their But for NaBCo, and him say stipends, we're trying to assist them while they go allowance whilst they go through the work and learning program, so they don't suffer too much. And if they are using part of it to travel to the workplace, this was the reason we didn't want to encumber them from being able to access the program. That's why they were paid this money. What we have actually made clear to the MIPs, and I explained MIPs earlier on, the organizations that engage them, if you are using our NaBCo trainees for field work way beyond their regular the sort of regular travels we all make, then that becomes your responsibility as an organization to transport them. You don't expect them to go out on such field work using their own funds or resources to do that. Coordinators from September, this is a clear misunderstanding. I don't know where that comes from. I explained, say, fortunately, I have colleagues here who are regional monitors who were also interview panel members and monitored the process. We started interviews in July, and it went all the way to September until we only engaged coordinators for November. But all that period of interviews and other things was a separate phase of the project, and we dealt with it as a separate phase of the project. However, we have a core staff from the headquarters who transitioned into the current secretariat who were old from September because they've always been on the project. So yes, there are categories of staff old from September, but for coordinators specifically, they are old from November, and that is very clear. The prayer from John, really appreciated. We all need. Every time Kwame says Nyamini Hini, we all take the prayer. We love the prayers also coming in. So our father who was worried about his children, I get excited. I realized that there was a bit of a chuckle among people listening, but I get excited about these very personable stories because I can relate to that experience. If you're a parent, say you had children who you were struggling to pay their school fees for, thanks to the flagship initiatives that we have under this administration, His Excellency the President, we assist you with free senior high school so you get your ward supported. The same applies to the Nation Builders Co. If you've educated your children to tertiary level, they've come home and they're sharing your bed space still, it's a worry, a concern to parents. There is a scheme now, thankfully, to assist them, to prepare them as a future workforce. And all these arrangements, these are direct interventions that are affecting families, and his story actually speaks to the very heart of the issues that we are trying.
So when next are you opening again? He wants his two children.
For him, but the last two. So the last two have to pay attention to the opportunities for replacement. There are opportunities for replacement. When people are finding jobs in the public sector and in the private sector, we have the opportunity to bring on board people who are interested in working in the scheme.
Ochimai, Dr. Nyas says, pay attention. Coming up soon, the new movie featuring Ochimai and Dr. Nyas entitled The Last Two. So let's go back to the phone line 0302-257-900 and answer 0302-257-901 0302-257-900 or 0302-257-901. Well, I've got a lot of people also sending congratulatory messages to you, but I'm deliberately not reading them. So it's not as if all the messages are against NaBCo. There are a few of them that are very, very flattering of your work. Afarita Disco Down, who is a Western Regional NaBCo monitor, says he thanks the President, the Vice, and Dr. ANYARS for such a program. Through their hard work, some challenges facing the scheme is now a thing of the past. He said there was something called 3 Ps: pending, placement, and payment. So Afarita Disco Down says he's very happy. Okay, so there are a few people who are also very happy, and it's not all gloom and doom. And then this one says, in every new initiative like NaBCo, there will be challenges. We need effective communication and updates. Dr. Nyas, please note that. Effective communication and updates. So please tell Dr. Nyas to intensify the updates and beneficiaries, because Youth Employment Authority began with criticism, but has saved many youth. Okay, let's go to Kofodia. Philo?
Yes, coming.
I say, Boko.
You me buy it in on sofa digital Ghana.
Digital Ghana, okay.
And or have me kakra ma yesi nko ye quality data or anti mamisika nko. Mamisika na mi fanko jimia misika. You tell the council me jimia misika na or they ko collect data no mo ni gabe. Nti homo ye doctor ye omo den. Omo di omo sika ko collect.
Na oban osi yentua na kade.
Osi etua.
Yetua na 700 no.
Yetua na sika na no fanko collect data na. Eno na have me kakra no.
Na filo nka onya dey.
Ono san ko bi afia ko sun. No asa ba afia ko ayi surrounding districts no with all money.
I am pacha maybe son because we there. I know you better say. So Philo from Kofodia osi musika no fia digital Ghana. Na collected data de bia sa yanko sunyan Eric Mache.
Boss, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Macho, you can apply for NIA 1 month registration officer no. I will match me. You can show up to test Sunday. And NIA 4 test here message say you for training, but the training on the last day and I'm here Ghana card my. Maintain you to man actually because the center no only dissolve the center. Receive message send up with him and for March and April in Jamaica. And I'm catching and I coordinate and it's on. But on your way, on send the final list in farm Mawa, on Buku to my own team verify because me say my minute, we don't mind you. But me catch him coordinate and submit monthly sheet in the Ghana so still.
Eric, that we Juma.
But yeah, my submit monthly sheet in Libya. And I trap test but me no man create because your center no is available but I was going back to NaBCo because I know man and na 1 month in case in a few days because na we just had the registration next year.
Okay. All right, maybe some will be yan why.
Okay.
So from Eric in Sunyai, Ajwa is in Accra. Good morning, Ajwa.
Hello.
Yes, Ajwa.
Good morning, Chairman General.
Yes, Ajwa.
Wait there, that's the pass I would not go see you by. Na mianka sa mi pese me da His Excellency na do down kwase for this scheme because me start here no me be here Ghana ni me start here na me here adwuma kakra wo Lekma Hospital honom kakra sa na NaBCo yi baaye e na me so me ko sign up me just seven kakra se si ade Ghana Health Service ma recruit me permanently. Nti me da see you na se me da His Excellency and me da also ase
Ajo dem with the call cry with them when you have permanent employment with them why with trinkwa you bye yanko so far Deborah Machin.
Hello
Deborah
sir
meet you
me pa tell me mami no oba konsa kan oba kon kan o mo so won ebesi se mentefi ntini disapane ne se every band oba kon aka na nsabeka
boy yo Debra me da say Debra e wa asofa so no de ni tia ye ni mamie no ba kunya nti CEO nche ne se da be hafa ba ku twa ne num ba ku so kom de no nti no opeso hu JN also says 2 of my daughters applied, one was picked, the other was asked to wait. Till now, nothing. So JN and Deborah have the same issue. JN in Accra. And Odiano Subai. Yanko Frank, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, about you, Iti.
Me pacho, mi angasa sumeya NaBCo nibi.
Okay.
Na me sasi ejuma no. Me we no ekoye mi no. NaBCo number no. Me ko e na omo letter no. Omo sisa no. Enu se ba ne sa no ye yi first one na ye bie ma me no efiri. E na mama me NaBCo number foforo. Nti NaBCo number no e be ye mi no. Ti ba ko ne ye efiri. Eni ho. Me ye ejuma from day 1 up to date, but still bakuno mu bie me no aba pending. E na bakuno mu bie yankasa no mo ye free system no mu kra e ne de ni system no mu. Enti de on bie na sisi e ye pending no. Omo bie ba omo ma me appointment ma me ye ejuma. No family.
Enti say o how ne se pacho chichi mu yina mentiase.
Me pacho me say
Nya kanya Matias enti den apese Dr. Iya no.
Hello.
Mpacho meeting.
My appointment. My appointment letter. PA we no. Me NaBCo ya wana maybe o madamai. It's PA no. NaBCo number no. Me koji appointment na NaBCo number na assistant wo. It's assistant sa no. Baako na nkaya first one no. Omo yi free system no. Eno na me dia mention ka bi mtie no. Ena baako na omo de ama me wo appointment letter no so. Omo PA but na e wo pending up to date. That's so pending but me here all right.
Okay. All right, Frank.
Classroom to see Accra, no.
I just send Kolebi soon. Class HO. Why? Doc, let me ask just a few other questions. And this one from Yeboah in IBRAHIM South District says, I've been validated. I was validated in February, but as at now, I've not been paid for the last 4 months. What should I do? And then this one says, at Kumasi Metro, submission of our monthly timesheet and subsequent verification has been tied to the payment of 30 cedis. We are back to the 30 cedis. Of 30 cedis by trainees for our clothing, which we believe should not be the case. Please confirm from our CEO if that 30 cedis payment is legal and we're obliged to pay. So it's from Kwame Opoku in Kumasi. Assuming it's his real name, Kwame Opoku says this is what it is. And this one from Ababa Anto in Jekiti. You say, I need the coordinator's help. Ababa Anto, in what way? You haven't mentioned anything. All you said is you need the coordinator's help. What kind of help can we offer you? Okay. Right, Dr. Nyas, any answers to the questions, please?
What would I say? Philomena, Mami Philomena.
From Kofodia, I said digital Ghana.
New job in Nebabi Jumo digitized Ghana. I think that we have to be very clear about this because I realize you are equally struggling with the. So when you run schemes like this, because it's new, the nation. This is the first time we've had a graduate employment scheme. We've never had that. I know that what people benchmarked was things they were familiar with, the YEA and the like, but we've never had really graduate employment scheme. This is the first. Experience elsewhere, they say, if people finish university and they don't have jobs and they are looking for their future careers, they actually engage in internships. Including this country, there are a lot of people paying to go to work every morning to gain work experience without anyone supporting them. I am very certain, say, in this organization, this company, you have a lot of interns who are working with you but not paid. Why? Because they are trying to gain work experience.
Yeah.
This happens across the globe. In fact, one of African countries, when I was listening to Madame Philo, one of African countries, we looked at, when I researched for the Nation Builders, was the Mauritius Skills Working Group. Omo NaBCo look alike, the semblance of NaBCo Skills Working Group. So what you do is that they don't pay in the sense of just paying you direct money. You make claims based on transportation and other things that you have done, cost you have incurred to go and do the work, and then they refund you. And it's not like everyone take 700 Ghana at the end of the month, and then so you make claims, and this to make sure that you are on it. And for those who are familiar with the English system, where I remember in the past they had things to do with education maintenance allowance for people who stayed in sixth form or post-secondary and stuff like that. And the money is meant to help them follow the work and learning program. They are not salaries per se, but it's meant to just make sure that they are quite comfortable and they don't suffer any challenges whilst they are on there. And if there are extreme situations where they are spending all their money on field work, like I said earlier on, we equally caution organizations to pay careful attention to that and support them. Kwame, the
Eric also says
the NIA example.
NIA center was dissolved.
With you, because NIA thing, this when I was speaking earlier on, a colleague of mine mentioned NIA, and people don't know this. And the trainees actually sometimes they'd have to. Last week, because Obi said the text was, see, Dr. Anyars always blame the trainees, and then it's not accurate. What happens? They say. The National Identification Authority is one of our flagship to try and identify people, and then in fact NABCo is currently in the process of leading one such initiative called the Digital Property Addressing System to partner the assemblies and the Ghana Post and then the Ministry for Special Development Initiative to make sure we identify homes by tagging them, house number, street address, street name, and then the digital address. Now all these things that we do in the same work, because you're trying to make sure that we build a transformed nation. We have nation builders called trainees who, for whatever reason, like he stated, we have posted you to an organization. You're supposed to be working for example, Peace FM. That's where your coordinator knows you're working. You've applied to the NIA because they're looking for someone to do some work for a month or even 2 months. You haven't notified the organization that you are leaving to go and do this project on behalf of NIA. Probably thinking that your district coordinator will never know because it's just a 1 month or less than 1 month job, and then you'll do it and get back to Peace FM. It doesn't happen in any employment context. You paid for the work you do. We're supporting you on the program. Until all those who were validated for payment and they are with NIA, because we had equal data coming from the districts, that some of them had vacated posts. And we found out that they had vacated posts to go and work elsewhere without notifying the district. They were not qualified for pay.
But his case is,
that's what I was coming to. He says that although he applied, but he didn't follow it through.
Because the center was dissolved.
So that is something he has to take up at his district. But I'm making the general point about the attitudes that we just, and this is telling you and the public listening, this is just clear indication. This is just like March and April.
Yeah.
We validate payment rule for every single month. We just paid April, March and April, but we didn't base May payment on the April payment. Why? Because we have to make sure that you actually were still with us in May. And for those of them who think that they can just, tag along without us finding, we find out these things, which is why some of them have these petty challenges. But they are easily resolved. If he is not in that category, he can easily take it up at the district level, gets validated, and get paid. But 6 districts have given us data so far for the non-payment, and in the majority of cases, some of them have actually moved on to work for the NIA, which means that they are not qualified to get paid for those months. What we ask them to do is go on the portal and decline. They are no longer with NABCo, so they don't count, and to free up the space.
Why does NIA pay better?
So these are graduates, and it's a question of choice. They are clearly thinking about their career pathways, and this is what we are trying to help them to do. So that's what I meant by we don't begrudge them moving on to work on other things, because the reason we keep them is to make sure that they have the security of the NABCo program to think clearly about their career pathway, so they can transition into those. So if someone has found something within Digitized Ghana that they so much cherish, like the Identification Authority or some other project, we're very happy to support them to go there. But they must equally make the work simpler and easier for everyone. You've left the scheme, go on your portal. You have a personal portal, update your record, decline. Once you do that, I can go onto this system and I tell someone just left the Nation Builders Call, and the number drops. When I submit data to finance to get money to pay NABCo trainees, they no longer should be paying us money to pay you, because you are not with the scheme, unless you have been replaced, so they can use that money to pay some other training. Until there are processes at play, and they know this. It's just that sometimes people are not happy to follow the procedures.
Jen and Frank.
Ghana, very, very, very good account of exactly what we said.
The lady Ajua.
She was very happy about, and I'm pleased for her that she's got clearance. What we have is an arrangement with Ghana Health Service to support people like that. You see, the nursing profession, unlike my political science, I didn't need to rehearse my political science. It's not hands-on. Probably I need to read and up to date. But if you train as a nurse, you need to practice with the skill. Otherwise, I don't know. Well, I mean, you went to the hospital and someone told you I'm a nurse, but I have never really been. I've not been working for 3 years. And they want to inject you.
No, it's not possible. It won't happen.
So the whole idea was to make sure that they practice their skill, so that they're top notch, and it's helped. So a lot of them are actually very eager now to join while they wait for their clearances, and we are in discussion with the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service on that. In fact, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service supports them very well on this. Madam Tina Mensah, who is the Honorable Tina Mensah, or the Deputy Minister for Health, had been a strong advocate of ring fencing the space too for them, so that we can take on more nurses. And they have worked brilliantly on this to support our nurses. So JN and Madam Deborah talk about people waiting to...
Not Deborah. Deborah.
Mr. Deborah.
Yeah.
So they
want to know when next, because they are happy.
Yeah, so
they want their children out of the house. So
so we're working on this. There isn't a plan to recruit another 100,000 yet. The plan is to replace those who are finding permanent employment. So they should pay attention to what is going on. I think there has been a recurrent issue of communication. It's our communication assembly. We have to say a thing or two about it. NaBCo has, in the era of social media, too much communication can also be problematic, because all manner of things make the rounds, including, I'm sure this morning you would have found things going around. NaBCo opens the portal for 2019 application. Nothing like that is coming from us. Until we have a direct way of communicating with our NaBCo trainees, they know that. We send them direct bulk SMS to reach every trainee when it's coming from us. For anything that is customized, targeted at a particular trainee, we send them a message and say, go to your portal. That is very specific to you, and then you can work from that point. Otherwise, the general information in terms of communication, our website is very current on issues. Unfortunately, when they say, experience, you have organizations like us who have a huge number of people working for us. But if you were to go and look at the tally, number of visits that come to the website, they don't visit the website. That's a source of information. Yeah. They will prefer to still call. Because Ghanaians, we're very personable, we like the personal contact.
There's always the personal contact.
There's always the personal, culturally. So someone will call you, but they still want to meet you. I just want to come, and
meanwhile, they could discuss what it is on the phone.
You could just discuss it and then solve the problem. So a lot of them don't visit the website, but we communicate on the website too. But they just have to find, that's another way to communicate with them without having to make telephone calls.
36.
Frank has a technical problem. Frank with the duplicate code.
Yes.
Technical problem. Now, all these are given credence to the sort of scheme that we have built, called the Nation Builders Corps. You see, we're very reckless about data. So I'll give you an example. This is not specific to Frank. At the time of application, application, and then he gets to a point, the scheme asks, you're supposed to input an e-switch number. He doesn't have his e-switch card. He says, Philip, Charlie, you have your e-switch? And he says yes. He takes it and he inputs Philip's e-switch number.
But you're putting somebody else's.
He's called IBRAHIM ANYARS. Now, in December, when we try to pay them, we try to pay IBRAHIM ANYARS. On the system, it comes up that his e-switch is Philip.
Wow.
Should you pay him?
No. Of course not. How can you pay?
Well, I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, but I'm looking to pay IBRAHIM ANYARS. So if his e-switch identification says he's Philip, then there must be a problem.
So we have had problems like this. Now, in this case, as in a few other cases, there were people who applied twice.
Okay.
Maybe they thought that my application did not go through, so they make another one. Maybe when they submitted, they didn't see any report, so they made another one, and they end up getting a duplicate code. So they have one code. I don't recall. He was calling from. I didn't catch the district.
Well, I didn't.
So NaBCo code reads like this: your NaBCo. It says NaBCo, your region. So if it's northern region, it will be NaBCo NR. If you are on Revenue Ghana, it will be NaBCo NRREG. That's Revenue Ghana, and then a unique number 00235. That's IBRAHIM ANYARS on Revenue Ghana. So when I take any NaBCo code, I don't even need to ask you a question. I know what module they work under. I know what region that they work within, and I know that that number is only unique to that person.
So what should he do?
We clean the system by cleaning deleting the duplicate codes and leaving them with one code. Now he still has a technical problem because one of his codes is still pending, but we have placed him. It means he has progressed beyond that. So he has to take it up with his district, and they will forward that to the office. I didn't want to ask him online to compromise his data.
Yes.
I would have done that. So we can clean that up, and he will be left with his unique ID, and then he's just the one, Frank.
Fantastic.
Yebua 4 months, Birim South. Please, any payment related queries, Dr. Anyars cannot sit on air and resolve them. Even if you were to contact me directly on my phone, you know what I do all the time. I equally have to go through the process you don't want to go through. I have to check with your district to make sure you are still with NaBCo. They would have to check with the organization you work for to make sure you're still working for us, and then it comes to the region, and then it comes to the national, and then we pay you. In fact, the payment, I don't know what people think. We don't even actually deal with payment. The GIPS deals with the payment. So we work on the data, but the payment is done elsewhere.
Okay.
So please follow the process. You can start with your district. It makes it easier for you, and then the payment issues are resolved. If the districts are not supporting you in the way you still have another layer. You have the regional monitors, and then they have the regional coordinators, and they can help you. So KMA, this issue came up last week, not just with KMA, but we had a couple, and I assured you that we're going to investigate this. So we're in that process. We've sent out circular to the regional bosses.
That's the 30 cities.
Yeah, some people claim it, but of course, I think the person was saying the same thing. I think at the AMA, somebody also raised the issue, and they said that actually it was a decision to charge for sewing the cloth, not for paying for the cloth. So we are investigating what is actually happening in those few districts.
Okay.
Ababa said he wanted help. See your district coordinator. I don't know what sort of
exactly. I don't know what the person was telling.
All right,
but Otanyas, here's something very interesting I'd like to bring to your attention. It has to do with Philo's complaint. Mame Inokre says your explanation to Philo's complaint wasn't fair. Now, her contention is this. If you're giving all trainees 700 cedis allowance, and you expect a trainee from Digitized Ghana to use part of the allowance for field work to acquire job training and experience, and you compare that trainee to one who works in an office setting, then it's not fair, because they are all there to acquire training. But if somebody goes onto the field, could we therefore have an allowance of sorts for the person who's going on the field compared to the other one who probably is not going on the field? And that I am hoping, this is what she writes, I am hoping they'll work out something so that these complaints will be addressed to better the scheme for everyone. Mame Inokre. So doesn't exactly agree with you, but that is her complaint. Doc, respectfully, let me take my last set of 5 calls, and then I believe that we can gladly pull the brakes here and have you go and do other things that you need to do. And then are NaBCo workers paid through Controller and Accountant Generals, or is separate? It goes through, you said GIPS.
GIPS, that's correct. Ghana.
The trainees or the staff?
No, these are trainees.
Trainees, how about staff?
Staff are supposed to go, we would have to pay them, but they would have to be paid salaries, so they will pay through their banks. Yeah.
Okay, right. Quick ones. Sule is in Tamale. Sule, good morning.
Chama, good morning.
Sule, Mane Suga claiming to you.
Chama, good morning.
Morning, Sule.
Chama, I'm calling from Tamale. My name is Nyab Sule. In fact, I have a direct contact with Doctor. In fact, we those who had those problems have been worked on. My problem was I was with Forestry Commission. Forestry Commission came before NaBCo. So when NaBCo came, I switched on to NaBCo. So my first student came. Later it was detected that I was on Forestry. It was worked on, and just last month, I had a message from Forestry that I have been suspended and I have been taken off their system. So currently, there's a young man who is with him, Abdullah Tahir, who has graciously has been helping and have been worked on. And in fact, I'm expected to get my allowance any moment from today going. So this problem is persistent, and lots of guys around have those problems. And the NaBCo team, I believe in the CEO, he was my parliamentary candidate for Tamale Central, who is doing very well. And in fact, those who have those problems have been solved, and one way or the other, some have had their allowances, some are yet to get. I'm yet to get, but it has been worked on. I had a direct contact with him, with Tahir, who's one of his personal guys, who's in your stadium with you, and I say great to them. They are doing very good, and they should keep it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sule. So Sule is here to let you feel good that at least he had wahala, but it's been resolved, and well, he seems to be very happy with you. He says something, I'll ask you at the end of the show. But let me go to Gan West. Danzo, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Danzo.
Please, my problem is I one of the trainees.
Okay.
Originally, I think the work as a presidential work enough. I've received my November statement, but since I've not received any exam today, I've been given data to upon data, but yet nothing has so far. So I'm asking that these issues we've been promised every month they will pay, every month they will pay. But now I've seen that all their promises are no arrears. So when are they going to pay our free?
Okay, right. So that is done. So let me go to Sunyai. Abed Nego, good morning. Abed. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Abed.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. My program is what the payment of March and April arrears now. Hello.
But you also March and April arrears.
March and April arrears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now your arrears, but we were being paid for November, December, January, and February. But with that of March and April, as of now, we've not received the arrears. And we don't know when they are going to pay us. So we want us to know or to make clear emphasis of when we are going to be paid. But we've been validated for that of May. So we want to know whether after the payment of the May, that of March and April will be paid.
All right. I bet point well noted. Still in Sunyai, but this time Sunyai West. Kwekweji. Kwekumaji.
Hey, yeah.
Kwekuminti.
Yeah, chama me Joseph Pa, me da was pa so the Dr. ANYARS so aba so.
That's
me patcho me NaBCo ben trainee. Na e wo Sunyai West district. Now so fence and yet can be a abisin the yan sankai. Normally a coffee to January to date. But on much young February, they just last month. Edge January no womb. March, May, April, May. Since your master my text message said they are validating us for fencing May stipend. The person beside doctor said, "Sir, months na come." Yeah, and then because every month be also you submit a timesheet.
Okay. Right. Yo, Kwekweji, that's still in Sunyai. It looks like Sunyai has taken over my phone lines. Abdul.
Boss, challenge you now.
Yes, Abdul.
Pacho, good morning.
Pacho, good morning, Nibi.
Pacho, my first question here, but Mr. Doctor said, me na me dey back every month be submitting the timesheet. But omutua March and my message. Me try yesterday a message me ba amba. Me call ta o kubisa no say my submitting the timesheet. Me want some before deadline of the month. So there's a young court in line when they are Ed say yeah that's so post. Almost send them message say you are working post. You me for the letter mo.
Now I'm vacating post here.
But yeah that's what you.
Okay.
Yeah. Me for the letter at the coin. Yeah, the command was over working on it. the following week, you can check it. Still,
Am I? Okay. Martin.
I submitted a time sheet, but almost sending message for creation. And also, you maybe any call was a young message or actually say because of your issue for last month, which I will no man send a message to
Okay.
You be vehicle Accra or Moya Goldman, but up to date, until home to be
Martin.
The second question is here. Eh, senior has said, well, the doctor said, well, from the Mayan. I was said, could let the system come my no, and answer or some of the money I confirm.
So I said, no, well, Pacho Beyano, why? Medasi Abdul, let me take my last call. Mr. Bwedu Okankwe South. Mr. Wedu.
Chairman General.
Let's say.
Oh, Chairman, the more than papa.
Yeah, the Yamia Simiti.
Yo, Mr. Bwedu, aka Abrewa, and Opay, Mamemo, Dr. Abato. Namimfa at the Vegakra and two. Chairman, on the Yamudi and Yadum, Yena Konyaku. Now, I know Buya, no Muki, no Munya, Chairman. The bottom is not a crab account to ma. If the bomb not yet, the show woman, so it's fresh. Send a queen of the bottom with you. Man can no move you, no one good ya. But you have guys there, three. How we now move you, know me the Etospa. And so the Minia, I'm all moving to Bottom one a crab in Yano. This is a corner of a big crank card Maum. It will be Mankayan so Omar Current and Omu Chairman.
Marty.
Dr. Mamma.
Marty Bwedu Medasi, so the way the Akasunia Numbi, at least why are the Junior no more. And then 2 messages here, Dr. ANYARS. Isaac Yeboah says, when we get the message that we are being validated, does it mean our details are okay and will be paid anytime from now? And then this one says, I want to do a reposting from Kumasi to Accra. Due to some challenges with my father, I have to be in Accra every weekend. What do I do? And then the cloth is back. Abena from Western Region says, I'd like to ask if it's compulsory to pay 35 cedis and 30 cedis for the cloth before we're validated. Well, Dr. ANYARS is here with his final set of answers. Doc, it looks as if the issue of validation, March and April arrears, post-dot vacated, when next you're going to open so that others too can come chop small. And then red tapeism, it seems, are some of the issues I picked up. And the cloth doesn't want to go away. Yeah. The cloth is still here. Abena has brought it from the Western Region. Somebody says they want a reposting. Somebody wants to know if they see validation. It means that they will chop or they don't go chop. Anyway, Doc, let me come to you.
Thank you very much. So this encounter with the public is brilliant, isn't it? Because we're getting a lot of which suggests that
feedback.
When you say the feedback is key to progressing the organization itself, because this is a new organization. Sule from Tamale, well, thanks for all the we're happy that you're having a good experience with the issues and the forestry resolved. Dansu talks about the arrears, and then we have Abing also talks about when they should expect the March and April. That is this week. For those who were not paid March and April because they had outstanding, they will be paid March and April, and that allows us to pay them May, because we've commenced payment for May. Kwekwe J Sunyani West talks about May as well. So we started paying May, as you heard from some of the listeners. So that was from Friday, which means this week we continue with the payment, and by the close of the week everyone should be sorted, and then we can now have a good enough master list to pay June, and then progress from that point. So Abdul had this issue between I have submitted my timesheet, not submitted the timesheet between. But it's quite straightforward actually. It means from our payment data, we would have sent the data to the district for them to authenticate that they are at work, and then we pay them. So if he's having this, but he should just resubmit the timesheet today, if it's a correct timesheet from the line manager, and then it will be resolved. I don't recall what Mr. Boyd said.
Mr. Boyd says he is fine, but his friends. So he wants to know when next.
When next?
There will be NaBCo trainees. There are a lot of when next have come up.
Yeah, well, that for us that's a compliment, isn't it?
Well, I guess so.
I think it's a compliment because we're a new organization, and for people to want to buy more and more, it means that some good must be happening.
You must be selling something good, huh?
Selling something good, and I think that can only be a good thing. Except we're limited by the budget that we have, and currently we're only doing replacement. But satisfying as a priority those on the waiting list before we are able to reach out. Validation simply means what it means. You get validated, and that means you are on our payroll for that month, and we send you a message to say you are being processed to pay, and we'll give an indication from when. So the text messages they had told them from Friday date, and then we started paying, and then they get paid from that point. So it simply means what it means. If for any reason, and maybe I should clarify this, so we've validated you, we've sent your data to GIBS to pay, but GIBS instantly finds that, for this month they are unable to hit your e-switch because there's a problem with it, such as it happened to people who were on some of the other banks. So all those things happen, and the e-switch card can also have a problem. Although you validated, and suddenly we realized that they couldn't actually pay you. They send us back the data, and we return the data to the district. And in all cases, you get a text message that says, although processed, you were unable to pay you your May because you need to provide new e-switches or new card details, and they always know what to do from that point. So the reposting, if you're dealing with a talent pool or a workforce of 100,000, one of your pet hates will be movement. So the trainees knew from the word go that we didn't allow mobility, aside from mobility from module to another module, for example. We didn't allow fiscal mobility from region to region, and then this is because we didn't want a drift. If you suddenly have people who took the opportunity in a particular region, let's say in Brong-Ahafo region, all of them now wanting to transfer to Accra, because we work as a demand-driven program. Organization ask for staff, we supply the staff. If there are no places, so if I was to move you from your region, where are we taking you? But in extreme cases where people have challenges such as the one she's communicating, she can take that at the district level. We'll find an appropriate placement for her in Greater Accra in a new district, and then she can move. But we rarely approve of transfers because or repostings. But we also repost people when they have specific challenges. So if someone was confronted with issues, so we have persons with disability on the program, and in KMU, I recall I personally got involved because I went to visit the workplace and realized that it was not suitable for that particular trainee, and we have to make arrangements to. So we repost people in extreme situations, but we don't encourage that very much. And of course, I take strongly the feedback on the cloth, and we're still actually trying to find out what's happening on the ground so we can comment concretely on it. I don't like to make statements off the cuff without any basis. So it's a big organization. We have 254 districts. Who would want to know, what's going on. The principal stance is that the NaBCo cloth is for free. If there are welfare issues or local arrangements being made, we need to find out how that is impacting. The NaBCo trainees, I don't know if you've made the calculation yet. We pay in May. From when we started payments, by the time we finish this week, every single NaBCo trainee would have been paid just short of 100 Ghana cedis to 5,000 Ghana cedis. So 4,900 Ghana cedis per trainee is what we have paid. If we were to bulk it, you're talking about 490, half a billion, 490,000, 490 million that has been paid to NaBCo trainees. The cloth and other things, had always been given to the trainees for free, including a commitment to support them with their training without them having to pay for the training component, which is where I want to end this discussion. Every NaBCo trainee that has the opportunity to be on the scheme, this is an opportunity that we've never had as a country. The NaBCo is preparing our future workforce to imbue them with certain attitudes, if you want to call it a new attitude, of being someone who utilizes instruction and knowledge for performance and productivity. So our core values are knowledge, punctuality, and integrity. Punctuality is key, which is why we enforce the timesheet, which is why we enforce the NaBCo app, and which is why we do all this monitoring. The timesheet bit, if you submit at our cutoff point, you go in. If you submit after our cutoff point, you don't go in. All those things are deliberately targeted at training our trainees to behave in a certain way. Integrity. We have a lot of our trainees working within revenue mobilization and the like, and working in organizations that ought to keep matters very confidential. And in all these instances, you have to learn new attitudes on being someone that can be trusted with issues that bother on confidentiality, and also be of the best attitude or professional attitude. What are we aiming to achieve?
Yes.
For someone who entered the scheme as I started the program with, let's say, a higher national diploma, with a degree in any specialism, social sciences, health sciences, someone who entered the scheme with a diploma, what we're doing within the NaBCo is to define or assist you to define clearly your career pathway. Now that means that in addition to your base or foundation qualification, we are also trying to add value to you, so that even by yourself, you can have the confidence to join the labor market or think about what career pathway you'd want to follow in the future. That means that if you stayed with us longer than 6 months and you are still on the program, we have a system to certify our NaBCo trainees, the exit certification, that can take stock or account of every training opportunity and every experience that you have had, transcript it or catalog it, so that you can carry this certification that says that during my time with the Nation Builders Corps, I assisted in the digitization processes that covered, the NIA, or I was part of the digital property addressing system. That
so it serves as a testimonial of sorts for you.
A sort of testimonial of a sort, which is very good, in addition to your base qualification. Why I say this is because NaBCo trainees must take advantage of the opportunities given them on this scheme. Elsewhere, these are highly sought after, and people arrange these things by themselves. Fortunately for us as a country, the president has taken the initiative to put together this talent pool and give every Ghanaian citizen an opportunity that had issues with unemployment to get onto it, to do something meaningful for themselves. What we don't want is for all these opportunities to be abused. Currently, we have people following certain tracks. I don't know if you're familiar with Oracle, the Oracle software. Mm-hmm. Now, Oracle is training some Nation Builders Corps trainees to help run our GIFMIS system. And I don't know if you know the GIFMIS system, the Financial Management Information System for the Ministry of Finance. The reason is you would have to pay a lot of money to expatriates to come and fix problems that you have in this sector. And because we're now preparing our workforce, it means in the future, these are the same Ghanaians who will be benefiting from this. Come to think about it, in this country currently, if you have been following what was happening with Galamsey, the president took the initiative under the Galam Stop, and we trained in partnership with the interministerial on stopping illegal mining. We trained over 140 NaBCo trainees under Digitized Ghana as drone pilots, being certified currently by the Ghana Civil Aviation as drone pilots in this. So if there was to be an industry, new industry which is springing up, NaBCo would be one of the places where you have a huge talent.
Because then already you have over 140 of these pilots.
Exactly, who are already in the country. We're training a lot of our trainees in the district on first aid management, so that if there emergency medicine, should something happen at the workplace, these are some things that as a country, those are the marks of a developed country. you make sure that you have the mass of people on the very basics of healthcare delivery. You don't have to be a medical doctor, but in the event something happened at the workplace, you had people who were competent in first aid, and we're doing this in partnership with the Red Cross, and it's not going to be long before I don't know if you listen to the weather, especially this time of the year. We all have to listen to the weather for the right reasons. The Ghana Meteorological Service, if you were to ask them, the number of NaBCo trainees we have with them that have undergone training, I was at Legon 3 months ago for us to pass them out. And these are people who monitor and provide data for the weather. That tells me that I have to rush home and close the windows because very soon it's going to rain in Accra. And these are NaBCo trainees. What that tells you is that a lot of our trainees, some being trained, especially women, in renewable energy such as solar, to mount solar panels. That means that there are a lot of our young trainees on the scheme who are already seeing clearly what their career pathway is. I say these things because people often get hooked onto matters of exit. The exit arrangement is that, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but you can help me because you've dealt with these issues. Do we have a constitutional right to employment?
No, we don't.
Could I sue a president or could I sue someone because I am unemployed?
No, you have no business.
Well, thank you for suggesting that. I didn't want to be the one that says that. So the reason I bring this up is, if thanks to the initiative of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, we have a brilliant scheme like this called the Nation Builders, I think that the rest of us as fellow citizens, knowing that it's our tax money that is being used to support a scheme like this, sometimes at least can tone down on the misinformation and the politics, because the reality feels different as you've heard from people on the ground, and support in the very ways. If you are a module implementation partner, please assist these people to be trained properly. Don't assist them to try and then undermine the system or not behave appropriately. For you, we are on the media platform. We try and then get the public educated, as we are doing. We've done over the past couple of hours, so people understand what the scheme is all about. In whatever realm, if you can support, you make sure that you support. These are opportunities we've given to our young people who otherwise this morning would have woken up
to nothing and be idle. Fortunately, some of them have the hope that Dr. ANYARS owes them, and hopefully that will be redeemed sometime in the week. It's actually better to be owed than nothing.
Than nothing at all. And I'm very excited to be leading an organization like this. But I think that the exit certification is key. In addition to your base qualification, we're trying to make sure that we can catalog all these experiences that NaBCo trainees are going to, so that if an employer should be lucky in the future, 3 years from now, 2 years from now, to land a NaBCo trainee in their, or as they will exit as NaBCo fellows, a NaBCo fellow in their organization, then they will be assured that they've got the best product made in Ghana. They didn't have to
for Ghana.
And for Ghana.
Talking about career path, my very final question. Are you going to run for Tamale Central again?
I knew this was coming.
Well, it's your career path.
Well, is it because I read political science?
Political science, you've tried it before.
Well, in my classroom, it was 600 of us. Imagine all of us wanting to be members of that was.
And so I'm asking, your exit plan from NaBCo, you yourself. Are you going back to Tamale Central?
Yesterday, I was at the Tamale Central constituency to monitor the Electoral Commission Limited registration. And Kwame, I think that sometimes we have to applaud ourselves as Ghanaian citizens. In fact, I went round at the center that I visited, the Metro Center. Over 200 young people who had just completed senior high school were at the center trying to get registered. And a few of them I had a conversation with came there without anyone bringing them. Usually, the suspicion that people have to buzz them, and then because the political party is in. And when I had the conversation with them, I was quite excited that they thought that it was important to get involved. even this early on in their ages.
Yeah.
And that excited me. But I remember, just when I was leaving the place, some journalists who were present equally were very curious. But what is your interest? Why are you here? I said, I'm a stakeholder in Tamale Central. Yeah, but it doesn't end there. Well, my story is known. I have an unfinished business in Tamale Central. At the 2016 election, I was the parliamentary candidate. Because I made a proposition to the constituents to lead them differently, with the passion that the major issues around conflicts that we've had is as a result, when people say there is no peace, sometimes it's misunderstood. The authorities in peace and conflict studies will tell you that peace does not mean the absence of war. The fact that we're not taking guns it doesn't mean that there is peace.
It could be latent.
Yeah, exactly. So my understanding was that a lot of the young people who were idle required a shift in the mindset and some kind of enablement to be able to to get active and
so like a mindset transformation.
Yes, and a lot of them bought into my philosophy. So if you followed my campaign for 2016, it was one of the trending ones. We fell short a bit, so the business is unfinished. So I hope that
I'm the same tree into the crack and saying. So what does all of this mean? Does it mean yes you would run or no you won't?
It means that we have an unfinished business and we'll try and get the business finished.
Well, so it means that yes, you would run. Dr. Anyars, I appreciate your time. I mean, from Friday to today, especially today because it was lengthier and we could address issues. And thank you also for picking the phone calls and answering those questions. Thank you very much for your time. And I'm sure we'll meet again soon. Dr. IBRAHIM ANYARS, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nation Builders Corps, simply referred to as NaBCo. And Onyayemo Adaje Anope. Boom no about you. Adem? Walk by Jacke. Abdul Malik Rekubako, good morning. I know you love the song. In the meantime, PDS is Simi Fantuja tomorrow. Yebedum Kania from 10 in the morning till 5 in the evening because of maintenance work. Affected areas: Villaggio, Airport Residential Area, Doyumo, Ayikuma, Kodiabe, Greda Estates, Teshi Malik, Teshi Ajoma, Madina Zongo, Madina Fastone, and Redco Flats. PDS Meka Chamo so how be the baby and fan chomo. Inti baby and bubo e monka so chine bedum kania fiti anopa 10. Compliment number 5. 1 day down, 4 to go. Thank you for joining us as always by ear, voice, and text. We're back tomorrow morning. May your day be blessed. Keep your dreams and your hopes alive. And as always, just in case you stop to say a prayer, say one for me too. God bless. Good morning.